Hi and hello, I'm Ellie Wishes, and if this is your first introduction to me on my channel, great video to pick. This one's gonna be a banger. I've actually been meaning to make this video for about a year now. I did this project spring of 2024. However, dressing up as Marie Antoinette just wasn't something on my priority list of things to do. But now here we are almost a year later and I'm somewhat Rococo-fied, vaguely 17th century, and I'm ready to chat. Why and how did I make this sculpture? Why? I don't know, man. It seemed like a really cool idea. Originally, I had wanted to make a sculpture of one of my original characters, Viola, who in her story, she gets turned into a statue and she lives millennia stuck in stone. And as I was making it, I realized sculpting people was really hard. And then I made like the head of Viola. I thought, wow, it would be really funny to make just a bust of Marie Antoinette because she, got beheaded. And then I was thinking, because I was making a bust, I like doing multimedia stuff, that it would be really funny to make her one of those bloody pearl necklaces or an iteration of it that went viral on TikTok, but they're all over Pinterest and stuff now. You know what I'm talking about. And if you don't know, there's a picture up on your screen right now. The process that we're using today is called lost wax casting, and I've done this before. This was, I think, my third time doing it. No, this was my second time doing lost wax casting. The first time I did it, I worked directly in wax. This time I wanted to do the clay and then the wax. One of the biggest problems I ran into was time. So I was taking Sculpture 2 and I was the only person in Sculpture 2 at this time. And it's hard to pace yourself, like making sure you're getting stuff done in time when you're the only person in that class. So towards the end of the semester is when I started this, which was already pushing my luck. I thought the best course of action would be to sculpt the head as a just no undercuts, and then add the face and the details and like the hair in the wax. Me personally, I don't learn things until I do them the wrong way. And I don't know if you're like that too, but it's hard, it's tough, it's rough out here. Like, I love playing with this fan, by the way. Ye olden fidget toy here.
Hello, Ellie Nation. Because apparently I'm incoherent when I'm dressed up as Marie Antoinette, I'm having to hop in on voiceover and explain some things. So here you see me suffering. I am in purgatory because I am having to sculpt wax. I've sculpted wax before and it turned out fine. This time, though, it was awful. I hated it. It pissed me off. It was the worst. I'm not really sure why. Again, this is about a year ago I did this. I just know there were feelings of rage while I did this. Look, that's a face of an angry woman. She's pissed. But basically, I added a bunch of wax on top. I had this weird little owl mold that I used to make some of the ringlets. And because I had like a week before I needed to dip this wax, I was speed running this a lot. I was going very quickly. I also was taking 5 classes at the time. This is the piece gated. You need to do this so that when you pour the metal, when you make the mold and you pour the metal into it, it doesn't explode. If you're spraying shellac onto it so that the mold making process, the investment, doesn't stick to the wax, I think. I'm sure the reason of why you shellac it has been told to me, but I do not remember. Also, I had to spray the inside of this as well with shellac because the inside is hollow, which meant it was really hard to demold. Wow, look at that diva. Ooh, this time I did sneak my phone into the slurry room. I was dipping my piece so late into the semester that there was no one else in there. So first coat is just the slurry, and then the second coat is slurry and sand, and there are different kinds of sand, but first, witness me in all of my 5'1" glory dip my sculpture into the slurry. First, you're going to need a lot of protective equipment. I like to wear an apron just because slurry gets everywhere, but gloves, a respirator, hopes and prayers are also necessary. I was, again, really late with this project, so the slurry level was really low. So you're about to witness me. Don't be scared. I don't fall in, but I basically have to put my entire body into this giant vat of neon yellow liquid. And I'm like, if there's any point that I'm gonna have like a supervillain incident happen to me and I get superpowers, it's this moment. Because just a vat of gelatinous yellow goo, like, it's gonna get me. But this is what she looks like after being dipped. And you can see the light in my eyes dim ever so slightly. And I have to do this like 8 times. Oh, look that's what the inside of the vat looks like. You can see how low it is. Yeah, I was in there once. And twice, actually. I was in there a lot. So after you dip it, you're gonna go to sand A. So this is our second coat of slurry, and then you toss the sand, you like toss it around. You have to be really careful around your gating the first couple coats because you don't want to break your gating off because that sucks. I've done that on other projects, and this one, luckily, my gating was safe. So you basically just tap the sand. This sand, it has silica in it, so that's why you have to wear the respirator, because you don't want to get that in your lungs, because once it's in your lungs, it's in there forever, and it's really bad for you. So yeah, this is like, just honestly, this is the really fun part about mold making, because it's like sensory play, and you just get to like play in sand, and like, you're supposed to be playing in sand, you're not just avoiding things. Here I am coating the inside of my mold, and then pouring all of that sand out, and then you gotta wait about 45 minutes to an hour for your coats to dry, and then you do it all over again, and you go in with A sand, and then B sand, and then C sand, and then a final coat of slurry on top of it to seal it all in. And you do 2 coats of each sand, but if your mold is looking weak in specific places, you might want to do an extra coat of like B or an extra coat of C. The final step, which is by far the most important, is sifting the sand, because if you don't sift the sand, the professor he'll just shake his head and he'll look really disappointed, which is honestly way worse than being yelled at. But I also really like sifting sand. Like I said, sensory play. It's so much fun. I'm like, ooh, this is like being in preschool. So this is what your mold looks like after the wax has been melted out. And after the wax has been melted out, you might need to like patch some cracks, which is what that cement stuff is. And this is what it looks like before the metal gets poured. This is what I looked like because I actually helped pour the aluminum for my piece. And this is what it looks like after it's been poured. You can really easily take pieces off. Sometimes you need a chisel in the beginning, but the first few big chunks, they just pop right off, and it's really satisfying. And this is what it slowly looks like, and then you spend about 2 hours just chipping off this mold, and it's really boring, but you get to listen to music while you do it, so.
This was the project that made me cry on campus. This was the project, because it was taking so long. I was pushing my limit. I like to get things done early, and so being late on something is literally a nightmare for me. So I was patinaing this the night before critique, and originally what I wanted to do was paint the face like a human face, like you would paint like skin tone and eyeballs. And one of the reasons I wanted to do eyeballs is because I did this cool thing. Her eyes are inset. So hypothetically, if you were to paint eyes in there, as you moved around, it would look like she's following you. Her eyes are following you. And I do want to try this concept again because it did work when I did it. It just looked really ugly. It did. So I had like coated it 3 different times in acrylic paint, and then I just sprayed over it again with white spray paint, and then I added this pearlescent acrylic paint onto it, and this did wonders. This truly did wonders. The pearl, just the shininess of it, really brought out those highlights. And then then I took my old James Charles palette. Okay, get it out, get the booze, get the tomatoes, throw them at the screen. Okay, I took that old palette and then I took some blush. I put it around her eyes, put it on her face, and then on the back of her hair, I went in with like purples and blues and greens and use that to add in some dimension into the curls. You might not be able to see that here, but just know it's there. Could we take a minute to appreciate the fact that I made this sculpture while taking 5 classes? Can we? Because I feel like we haven't. Good job, Ellie. Good job. She had it rough, man, on campus every day. If you like this video, or if you hate Marie Antoinette, you should subscribe. Want to know more about sculpting? I have more sculpting videos. I'll put them somewhere. But most importantly, I hope you have an awesome day, night, evening, morning, whatever time you are in, and peace out. Oh, it was awful, guys. I cried a lot. Only once on campus, though. Only once on campus.